What would happen if I did one of my Sims challenges but my viewers made all of the decisions for me? I can give them a goal to shoot for, and if I lose, they choose the punishment for me. But if we win, I can say we did the impossible. Each day on the YouTube community tab, I will give them a choice in the form of a poll. I will give them 2 standard choices and 1 wildcard choice. This will allow them to either be a troll or to be wholesome chads and chadettes. Can we reach level 3 in career? Day 1 was simple. I popped my sim into a house with basic starting funds and no cheats. So I figured the first order of business, it's time to choose our career. I started off with 3 options. First was the law enforcement path. Were my viewers interested in the badge? Then there was the medical field. Perhaps they really liked watching Scrubs growing up, or watching Grey's Anatomy season 54. Now for our third choice, I had to think of a wildcard career that would be challenging, totally different, but also attainable. Let's give them Superstar. Why not? I should probably let them know how hard this is going to be. Hard. So I clocked out for the day and climbed into bed. To my stupefaction, I came back to a whopping 62% of viewers the next day saying they would be going the Superstar route. I found myself impressed yet terrified of the future to come. You see, fame works a little bit differently than a standard career. With a normal job, you rank up through promotion, but through fame, you rank up in half stars, meaning we actually need 6 promotions instead of 3 to reach our level 3 goal. Also, you don't earn money by showing up to work. You earn money through successful gigs. Knowing what I know about the Superstar career, I know that we are going to need to start off with open mic. So charisma and creativity are required for us to rank up. So I offered them +1 charisma, +1 creativity, or summon the genie for those that wanted to add a little risk into our lives. To my surprise, they actually chose charisma. And see, at this point, I actually knew what we needed next, but I wanted to see what my viewers were made of. I offered them the right choice, which was +1 creativity. Without this, we won't be promoted. I tempted them with the option of jumping right into singing on open mic and skipping any more hard work we might have ahead of us, which got me thinking, what if they just love the idea of being famous? Why not offer them the illusion of being a superstar by hiring none other than a butler? Sure, it would screw us over by day 2, but at least I would know that my viewers were confident in their choice to fail with style. They opted for the middle choice. A fine choice, but the wrong one. This failure, however, sent my viewers into what I can only imagine as a harrowing depression. I found myself with a difficult task at hand. I knew they were overwhelmed with the guilt from their wrong decision, so I gave them 3 choices. 2 of them helped us bounce back on our career. I pondered on happiness and what incites it. The first thought I had come to mind was puppies. No way they would choose this option. I knew that. But just seeing it as a choice would at least make them feel better about themselves when they were choosing the right thing, and they chose it by a lot. So off to puppy adoption. I was sure they were going to pick the adorable Dalmatian, but no, they surprised me by picking the barky beagle. Which is fine, I'm not mad or anything about it. And now it's time to name our puppy. Top comment is what we name it. I got some good ones, but of course my viewers voted for the oh so logical, definitely a cat. So me and definitely a cat, the dog, went home and started our new life together. My mood was in the tank and bills were due. Life. Always stifling success. I'm just happy they didn't sabotage me. I must say though, I am really quite surprised at the number of people continuing to vote for the genie. I started to label this group as a subgroup of voters in my head as the genie crowd, but we'll come back to them later. I gave them 3 choices again, +1 body, +1 creativity, and an option to pamper our new puppy with luxury items. I'm sure they'll just see this as a cute option, but ultimately decided to go with, dang it, they chose puppy again. Cyberman said, we will never reach 5 stars at this rate. At this point, I was convinced as well that this wasn't gonna work. I forced their hand and only allowed them to choose between charisma, creativity, and body. They chose a second charisma point instead of creativity. Perhaps they thought we needed a second charisma so that way we had a better way with our words on stage, which certainly makes sense. From there, I offered 2 pamperous options. One to live like a celeb and spend $536 on deep tissue massages, or the other to help clean up around here because definitely a cat won't stop relieving himself everywhere. But no, of course they didn't pick the one to clean up after definitely a cat. Why? Because they only want to choose the cute one or see me suffer. Besides, bathroom stuff is icky. There I taunted the genie crowd once more and noticed a disturbing trend of people never choosing +1 body. So the people voiced their decision and went for open mic again, and we failed at it. They still don't know that we need creativity. So at this point, I chose to give them a second creativity point and guaranteed success at open mic, hoping that they would clue in on the fact that this is what we needed to succeed. Or we can adopt a kitty as a way to cope once more with yet another failed attempt at fame. Nope, my viewers are mostly dog people, but naming it after a cat is totally cool. This is when I encountered a completely random event. This woman named Olivia rang the doorbell. Seeing as this encounter was organic in nature, I thought, would love steal their hearts away from the main goal? Well, they they didn't opt for +1 body. Shocking, I know. They did, however, choose to focus on wealth instead of career. This made our lives a little bit easier because now we had more money to work with. But tragically, Olivia's fate wasn't so fortunate. See, because we didn't choose to greet her, which most certainly would have led to love, she tragically perished at the hands of Alfred the Psychopath in my Sims 1 Party Challenge video. We could have changed everything. It's because of all of you. She was in the wrong place, wrong time, and we could have saved her from demise, but no! I am so sick of Definitely a Cat doing whatever the flip he wants to do. I spend half of my time mopping up after this stinking cat dog. Dogs have 3 unique traits you can skill up, one of them being housebreaking, so they don't relieve themselves inside anymore. I prayed to myself that my viewers would choose this one, but we also still really need that body point. My viewers refuse to exercise, so I offered an alternative to them. Maybe they prefer swimming? The only problem is we would drown if we did. We reject your offer of fitness, they decried. Then amidst all of this, I had completed an upload, so I thought to post something different on the community tab for once. I had written, "Hey you guys, it's important to branch out on the content I cover from time to time. I hope you enjoy this video."
Will you give us more Sims?
Then a fire broke out, and because we didn't have a fire alarm, they opted to call the fire department. But we had some of our things burned down because of the fact we called the fire department. But not to worry, I offered them the choice to replace the stove as well as add a fire alarm and a burglar alarm, which will probably pay off, but we'll talk more about that later. Geesh, they really hate working out. At this point, I really needed to push for that promotion. But in order to do that, we still need +1 body. We all know where that's going. Definitely a Cat won't stop treating the place like it's his own personal El Baño, and it's driving me nuts. I even offered +3 instead of +1, but no one was taking the offer though. This is when they finally said, all right, we'll get jacked for the job, fine. I offered for us to head downtown or to hire a gardener because our room meter was at 0 at all times. Look at these dead flowers in the back here. However, they opted for modeling like reasonable, aspiring superstars. We succeeded at that, and at this point, we were at 1.5 stars. Things seem to be going mostly well, but oh, how things get harder. We were down to $632, and we needed to start earning friends star power. When, as a famous person, you no longer befriend lowly simpletons that have normal 9-to-5s. No. You befriend those living that glam life. And the more famous a person you know, the more rep you get on the streets. So I offered them to star kiss Julia, who we met downtown. Alternatively, I offered to sit and stay for 3 points of obedience toward our pup, but the people weren't having it. I thought with all the puppy choices they had picked before that they would have been all over this. But no, as soon as we got that puppy and bought him luxury items, my viewers were like, "You're on your own, kid. Go on, get." Or we can grind it out and earn more cash. That's what they chose. We now had $1,122 to our name. So please tell me, why not use that money to clean up after our abandoned puppy and water our garden? My viewers, of course, said no to this because they like to see me suffer. They paid the bills and improved our mood. A choice I suppose worked for now. Now was decision time. The mood is affected differently by skilling up different things. With our mood being in a good place, which one would they choose to improve? Third creativity, third charisma, or second body? Shockingly, they chose second body. I guess realizing fitness wasn't so bad after all. But wait, I offered them a 4th choice. It was the wildcard choice, and they actually chose it over the second body point. The genie crowd finally had enough. It was time to summon the genie. The genie started off by offering work or leisure. They opted for leisure, remembering the easier times before the laborious workout routines I forced them into. He lit our $3,000 bed aflame. There's no fire alarm installed in that room, so I had to call the fire department anyway, and they put it out. But it was only put out after we lost the mattress, and at this point we only had $836. We could buy a replacement bed for $300, or I offered the genie crowd to try the genie once more, but things started to get a little bit heated. Any good Sims 1 tuber will tell you to keep gambling on the genie and eventually it'll work out. Definitely a good idea, right? Gambling addiction has never backfired for anyone. Some of you guys haven't repeatedly used the genie lamp to fix your problems and it shows. I always get the worst case scenario with the genie and I'm still mad at him. Actually, there really wasn't much of a debate. It was just a close vote. So we replaced the bed. I offered to buy a second genie lamp and rub both, but the people had spoken. They weren't about that anymore. The genie crowd was no more. It was at this point I had 2 options floating around in my mind. They could focus on their career or they could love their pup. I just found myself wondering what happened to their undying love of the pup. So I thought to offer something I hadn't before. the first and only permanent skill up option. This way I can be actively taking care of the dog passively in the background, and they wouldn't ever have to vote on it again. Seems smart, right? Yeah, they really hate this dog now. They want that fame. After modeling for more cash and improving our mood, they elected to meet the first person we encountered in Studio Town. This person was none other than John Bon Jovi. I offered for them to take his autograph, which they rejected because we're famous now, and by being famous, that automatically makes us better than everyone else. Then there was a choice to befriend the second person I had encountered, whose name was Samantha Anybody, or we could throw 12 parties for fans. Being at 1.5 stars, I'm sure we had some fans. And the saboteurs struck. Time to throw 12 parties. Sometimes my viewers are all about career, and sometimes they're just a little bit about chaos. Kind of like me. With the party in full effect, this presented a whole new set of decisions to make. Would we sell off our fun and install a radical dance pad? Would we have a swim party and get +1 body at the same time? Or let it all burn and light off fireworks inside our home? A shocking number of you chose fireworks, but ultimately they chose to party and work on career at the same time. Remember how I said I like to focus on career and mix it up with a little chaos? Well, I offered to light off fireworks a second time, just to see how serious everyone was about this challenge at this point in time. I'm glad to know they were serious, at least most of them, because that's when the comments lit ablaze. Okay, seeing as fireworks has been listed twice in 2 days, this is clearly a cry for help from the creator. So please free him and vote fireworks. It is his only way out. A reply, this is definitely a cry for help. Aren't you trying to just kill your Sims? The fireworks, the genie? I'm getting scared for that Sims life. The genie is great. He just needs to start rubbing them outdoors, lol. And then I got fireworks, please free us. They want to be set free. Somebody in the comments just dying. And then I got the lovely comment of, don't vote for the fireworks. Let his suffering continue. I can't. Everyone chose to befriend Samantha Anybody instead. Well, if only they had read the dang prompt. Samantha is an anybody. No friend star power here. We are too good for her. Remember Bon Jovi? What even is he? A poet? This means we have to meet a different celebrity and befriend that person instead. Now, remember a while ago when I said they bought a fire alarm and a burglar alarm? Well, good news is we busted a robber, which gave us a reward, leaving us with $5,122. They chose to save the money and retain the fame. With how many had voted to upgrade furniture, I offered the choice again during a skill up, and they chose it with charisma. Shockingly, the next day, they finally showed me some mercy, and they hired housekeepers with our extra cash too. Oh, and we got a creativity point. Now, all we need is that friend star power to rank up. Us having made it to 2 stars already, I decided once more, in the name of cuteness and what we once loved, was definitely a cat truly dead to them in their eyes. In desperation on behalf of our abandoned doggy, I wrote my viewers a plea. It read, remember that permanent choice from a while back? Choose this one to permanently skill up our pup whenever I can. We can't forget, we have a doggo. We ignore him a lot. I put the emoji to really tug at their heartstrings. Thank goodness, because it worked. Now I no longer have the guilt about missing the pup. So here is when I realized we hadn't maintained our star power in quite some time. If we didn't do something now, we were gonna lose star ranking. If that happened, it could totally demoralize everybody and make it so we never accomplished our level 3 superstar goal. We had 2 choices: play it safe by maintaining our star power and taking extra time, or go all in and try to befriend somebody before we lose our star ranking. My viewers are risk takers because they chose to go all in. We met Ron and attempted to befriend him, but gosh darn it, famous people are so snobby. It's so difficult to befriend this guy. That's when 2 viewers went to the comments to recommend their suggestions.
Our first combatant in this corner of the ring has offered us to do some magic, to rig Ron into liking us to give us the friend star power needed to land a promotion. He's a frequent commenter on the channel and has a phenomenal last name. Introducing Michael! And on the other side of the ring, we've got a longtime fan that's been watching me since nearly the beginning. She's also a patron on Patreon. Her comment was to befriend people in the spa. Combatant number 2, Ulrika!
Then we had the closest poll in the history of this challenge. Barely taking the win was Ulrika's choice of going to the spa. It turns out she was right. After hounding Ron for hours at the spa, he finally dropped his guard during his pedicure and said, enough, I'll be your friend. That's when viewers jumped all over the commercial option, which bumped us up to 2.5 stars. Only half a star away. Could we make it? This is when I made a grave mistake. I offered your standard career choices, but like a dummy, I offered top comment is what we do, you know, to try to shake things things up a little bit. That's when this viewer and patron of mine, Khaled, decided to derail everything. I mean, can I really blame him? Because clearly everyone thought, gee, we're about to win. I like this guy's idea. Let's have a baby. So this is when I set out on my quest to find love. And this portion of the challenge was not featured in the polls. So you'll want to stick around for this because this has not been talked about yet. So finding love was definitely a challenge. Fame was taking us to different heights, which meant the normal women of the world were more difficult to woo, intimidated by my ferocity. In other words, we became a stuck-up, snobby, richy rich boy. I found a woman who caught my eye, so I focused all of my efforts on her. But no matter what I tried, my ego kept getting in the way, only allowing me to brag, talk about myself, or offer her autographs. I was running out of time and out of options. This is when I decided to take a note out of Michael's playbook. Magic. If there's a friendship spell, perhaps there's a love spell as well. There was. After farming the necessary ingredients to perform the love spell, I pestered her through multiple phone calls until she finally agreed to come over. And just like that, I cast the spell on her and we were in love. I still found that proposing to her was still pretty difficult to accomplish. See, the spell is only so strong, but my snobbish ways still prevented us from feeling the fullness of our manufactured connection. Not only that, she had to be in a good mood when I asked her. Otherwise, she'd provide me excuses like, oh, I can't marry you because I'm hungry. After I forcibly made her happy, we had successfully moved in together. Now it was time for part 2 of this maniac's request. It was time to, when a man loves a woman. And ultimately, that's the only real reason you would use the bean dip in a situation like that. Now, with that said, I had to smooch this woman in a variety of ways. As we learned in the hot date challenge that I had done, you can't repeat the same thing multiple times unless you like a negative effect. Doing this correctly ultimately resulted in us having a baby. There, you happy? And now we've reached the epic conclusion. Will we make it? Will we not? I went all in on this choice. Instead of making it take days to figure out if we're gonna get all these different skill points, I offered just 2 choices. All we have to do is improve these skill points and then we can reach level 3 in career. Would they vote to complete this all in one shot and get us to that end destination? Or would they ruin it all by starting an affair shortly after falling in love and starting a family? Well, they didn't disappoint, but they almost did. We won the challenge as a community and I am so proud. I could not believe we actually pulled this off. But don't think I didn't see you affair voters. I want us all to be happy with the outcome of this challenge. So after the challenge ended, I kept it going a little bit. This is when I ran off and started an affair anyway to make the other voters happy. Seeing as I was a level 3 star now, I had more confidence than ever. To show off to my wife how glorious and famous I was, I brought my affairee into the house and smooched her right in front of the wife. For some reason, my wife left me over this, which resulted in her taking the child, the house, and definitely a cat and kicking me out to the curb. With nowhere to go and negative tabloids being printed all about me, I lost it all. The wealth, the fame, the love of my life, the cat. I could have had it all, but lost it all instead. I thought back to the old days. I wanted my old life back, so I did what had to be done. First, I dyed my hair, a symbol to myself and the world at large that I'm rebranding into a new me. I moved to a local park that had hedges in the back that I could hide out and camp in while I tried to rebuild my image. At that point, I made it my goal to not just reach a level 3 career in fame, but a level 5 career instead. And then The goal of this challenge is to become a level 5 superstar starting off with nothing while living on a community wall. Can I make a name for myself in this harsh, brutal world of entertainment? Or will the struggle get the better of my sin? Bumming off of this local park, he can use the local barbecues, picnic tables, restrooms, pool, and basketball court. And back here in this little corner, you can see there's a little nook that I claimed as my own, and because there's a number